Incredible greetings. Hello, 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 hello. Alrighty, let's get this all set up. Hello, 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 everyone. Incredible greetings. It's the weekend edition with the professor. I had to come in to do a last minute order. So before I head home, I figured I'd come on, say hello to y'all. I know quite a few people can't catch me during the week. So it's the weekend. Try to catch you maybe before you head out for your weekend, like your Saturday night shenanigans and adventures and soirees and just outings. Maybe you can catch me while you are getting ready. So I'm not going to stay on too long. Because I got to go home and watch Hallmark. But I figured I'd just come on, do a weekend edition of Q&A. For you guys to pick my brain about various topics. All right, so let's hit share. Uh-oh. All right, so I copied that. I wrote that out. So we're just going to share that. Share this out. More options. Share to a group. Although I did live stream this to, you got to be kidding me. It didn't actually copy that. Alrighty then. Control A. Delete it all. I got to go back over here and now copy it again. All right, let's see. All right, copy. And let's share. Share to a group. All right, I'm just going to leave it that way. All right, just give me a moment. I see some of you guys are on and you're posting in the chat. So just give me just a moment. I just need to share this out and then we're going to get started. Make sure that you guys give this video a like. It does help when you guys interact with the video, whether you give the video a like, a share, you tag a friend. If you are watching in one of the groups, you kind of have to look at the top and see if it's broadcasting in a group. You can't really share from the group, which is why I always kind of just share the actual one that you can share. And then also, if you have a friend and like just go back in because it will probably show like a line on it, or it's like grayed out. If they're not in the group, they won't be able to see your tag, or they won't be like in the group. They'll have to request to join the group. So if you're going to share it out or tag anyone, it is best to do that from the Shakia Lavelle's like Facebook page if you want to tag someone or just share out the video. All right, there we go. We are all shared out. Incredible greetings. Hello, hello, hello. Incredible greetings. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, just say hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for jumping on. All righty, let's. All right, I just put a weird title on there for TikTok. All right, so hello. I'm all done sharing out. I am Shakia, the professor of HSINK365. We are the home of, honestly speaking, that is our brand of products where we carry sublimation paper, sublimation ink, pigment ink, and some other accessories. We have HSINK Digital. We have 365 Creative Academy, where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of trainings, from Silhouette Studio, like designing in Silhouette Studio, Photoshop, how like we've had sublimation seminars, um, party favors, designing, you name it. We pretty much have a class on it. Foam board. I just don't do anything with like epoxy, or don't really have too much when it comes to bling. But all the other, I can kind of guide you, but we don't really do a lot in that area. But most of the others that you guys commonly look for as far as YouTube videos, we have something for everyone, no matter which level you are, from beginner to those who kind of have some skills. You just kind of really need to learn how to streamline things. And of course, always business. Most of my audience now are those who are getting into this and wanting to purchase machines and printers and supplies so that you can supplement income, or you want it to be your full time. You want to be able to leave your 9 to 5 or your corporate job. You don't want to clock in with someone else, and you want to kind of set your own schedule. That is what a lot of my audience is comprised of. So I'm always giving tips and strategies to help you along the way, and figure out what you can do creatively to make yourself some extra money or build a business around it. Okay. So yeah. So we check out our website. We have our sublimation paper. Our paper allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees, as fast as 30 seconds. You can get results like this. And this is a gray shirt. And look at how great those colors show up on this gray shirt. So check it out. shop.hsink365.com. She says, sister. So I know exactly who that is, because only one person calls me sister like that. Hi, Keish. Even though it doesn't show me your name, because that means you're in the group. All right. So hello to everyone over here on TikTok. Thank you guys for double tapping the screen and liking the video. Go ahead, just say, hey, let me know who's watching. Let me know where you are watching from. My son likes it when we have international guests. So if you're someone that's not in the US, go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know you're watching from. I always show those to MJ because he thinks that's fascinating that his mommy reaches people all across the world. So miss you too. All right. So like I said, this is a weekend edition of Live with the Professor and Q&A. This is not, so I think someone's put listening. It's great to listen in, but this is to help you guys. I've been doing this for well over 20 years, got into designing in high school, and I've built up so many like different skills in different areas. I was an event planner, an event decorator. I make shirts. I've done like party favors, print and cuts, invitations, labels, stickers, buttons, promotional things, yard signs, a little bit of everything like creatively. I don't really know where you guys are. Some people find me at the beginning of their journey. Some people find me in the middle of it where they are kind of comfortable and maybe looking to go to the next level. And then there are some people who just kind of enjoy watching and hearing the perspectives of someone who is, at the same level as them. Sometimes they'll pick up little gems here and there. But because it's such a mix of people, I don't know what information you don't know, what information you need help with, which areas of your journey you need help with. So I'm always open to questions and to helping you guys and meeting you where you are and providing insight. So although it's great to just listen in, if y'all don't ask any questions, then there's nothing to listen to. This is a safe space. I don't care if I just did a video yesterday on the topic. If you are here now and you have that question, I am here to help you in real time in this moment and answer your questions. So the floor is open. Post your questions and, let's help each other. You help me by just engaging, and your questions help the broadcast, and the answer will help not just you, but some of your fellow creatives. All right. Hello, incredible greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ooh, we have someone watching from Canada. How art thou? What have you guys been working on? Yesterday, my videos on TikTok, I did a live and I was doing some buttons, and that did fairly well over there. Buttons are a great way to get into selling custom made things. It's a low entry point, but it can be a really high return. I would like to learn more about how to use my silhouette for embroidery applique. I know you don't do embroidery, but if anyone here does, I'd like to learn. The only thing that you're really using it for is to cut out your fabric. That's what most people use it for. Now, if your file does not have that cut line, it's not going to be really beneficial to you. You'll end up just having to set everything up. You would have to, create your design, set it all up, save that, have someone digitize it. That way you have the cut. So for appliques, all you're really doing is using your machine to cut out, to cut that cut, which is normally it'll be in the embroidery file type, and you just have to have Designer Edition Plus or Business Edition to open that up. Some embroidery files, there is no outline, there's no applique cut. So you would then just apply these skills as far as tracing or using your edit points to manually trace around those to create that line. And then all you're doing is cutting it with your Cameo. In order to cut fabric, because the silhouette does not have a rotary blade, you can use your regular blade. You cannot use a blade that you use to cut like paper with, because it's going to dull it, which is why they created the fabric blade. But the fabric blade is no different than the regular blades. If you notice with the Auto Blade series, they don't have one that they consider to be a fabric blade. That was more a Cameo 1, Cameo 2. You had the black blade and you had the blue blade. They're the same. At the end of the day, it's the same when it comes to the auto blades as well. But you want to mark it. So because it has like a flat surface, you can always put a piece of vinyl on the top, paint it on the top, like something where you know that's the one for fabric. And you will not cut paper with that. Every time you cut fabric, you want to use that blade. And then you're just going to cut it. You can put freezer paper to the back of it, or you can put heat and bond to the back of it, and you're just going to cut it out. You do your tack stitch with your embroidery machine. That way you know where to put that. And then you just stitch that down, and then you just do your edge stitch over it. So how to send the applique SVG from my digitized software. So you don't just send it. So if you're saving it as an SVG from your digitizing software, you just have to open it up. You're going to go File, Open, and you're opening up that SVG file. That's it. I saw a button video you did a while back. Could you provide info on the button machine you use? Well, my machine is 20 years old, so you're not going to be able to probably find that. The company is called Badge a Minute. So you don't have to get the one that I have. I got that from a local company here in Miami right when I got out of the military. So I've been out since 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. So I've had mine for a really, really long time. Like, actually, no, I don't think I got it right when I got out. Maybe a little. So that, but it's still well over 15 years old. But any button maker, there are some people who use the We Are Memory Keepers one because you can actually change uh the button sizes with it. It's not as, like, I'm gonna say heavy duty, but they all pretty much work the same. Amazon has some that have more like plastic type pieces, and then some that are full on like um um uh heavy duty ones, like they're steel ones. They, like I said, they all work the same. The only difference is going to be the parts for it. All the parts are not universal. You're just going to have to get the parts that are made for that particular machine. But Amazon, or you can just search. I have a 2¼ so you can search for 2¼ you can do the ones that are 1 inch, 2.5, 3 inches. Just search for the button maker, and there's a bunch of them out there. Is the SVG not opening when you try to open in Silhouette? Is it telling you that that file is like the wrong file type? Because if you're able to save it and your digitizing software allows you to save as an SVG, it should simply open up in Silhouette Studio. So if it's giving you an error, it's just in how it's saving over there. Or just make sure that you are, like, if it ever doesn't open, look at the top, make sure that it says either Business Edition or Designer Edition Plus. Like, it has, or actually, no, for an SVG, it can be the regular Designer Edition, but you have to make sure that you're not on the standard version. You cannot open up SVGs on the basic free version of Silhouette Studio. So always check the top. If it doesn't quite come in, always check the top, see if it is if it says designer or business. If it does say that and it's still not opening, somewhere along the way and how it was saved, it just doesn't recognize it. So I don't know what digitizing software you are using. If it saves as like a SVG 1.1.0, it's like, it's a couple of different like types of SVGs. When I save it as an SVG from Illustrator, if I save it as an SVG from Affinity, it has like a different number on it. So it just might be how your digitizer is actually saving it. If you have Affinity or if you have Illustrator, try opening up that file in those softwares. They normally open up any type of SVG. If it doesn't open over there, then it's a problem with how the digitizer. It's nothing wrong with any of the softwares. It's how the digitizer is saving that SVG. You can also try and open it in Cricut Design Space. If it doesn't open in Cricut, because Cricut, you can open up SVGs, then it's nothing with Silhouette, it's nothing with the machine. It is how the digitizer is saving it. And there's nothing you can really do about how it is saving it. So I don't know in Brilliance, but so in Brilliance allows you to export a file or save a file as SVG format. If it's having an issue with that, like, you can open up. So the other embroidery file, like the other file types that you can open up are the PES, which is for brother. You have the DST, EXP, JEF. I believe all of those are the embroidery files, and you have like your PES file, which is for brother. Any of those. So if your digitizer allows you to save in any of those formats, it will open up as long as you have Designer Edition Plus or business edition. Designer only allows for SVG. Designer Plus or business edition allows you to save it in any of those or open up any of those embroidery file types. So yeah, you can open up the DST file. You can open up that one as long as you have Design Edition Plus or Business Edition. It doesn't have to be an SVG. No one else has questions, so this is gonna be a very quick session. AKA Diva, AKA hello, how art thou? How are you? Welcome, welcome. Incredible greetings. All right, no one else has questions. Really quick session. It's not a paying class. Y'all got to pay for my classes. This is a session to help you guys. I am here. I'm saying I'm willing to help. You can't say that, oh, people are gatekeeping. No one's willing to help and answer questions because you have me here saying, pick my brain. I know a lot about a lot. So you can pick my brain. If you don't ask your questions, you have no one to blame for yourself. If you are still struggling with your designing, with understanding your machines, if your colors are still messed up with sublimation, if you're still struggling with that, you have no one to blame but yourself if you are watching this live broadcast and you are not taking the opportunity to actually ask your questions. So I'll give it a few minutes. If there are no questions, we're going to close out and we're going to delete this video because there's no information on it. I have a smudge on a mirror. How can I get the smudge to work on it and make it into an SVG? I'm not sure what you mean. I have a smudge on a mirror. How can I get the smudge to work on it and make it into an SVG or PNG? A smudge on what are you trying to put on the mirror? I'm confused by that question. One last question. I want to cut an image with glitter HTV, but it has really small features. Other than doing an offset, how else can I get those small features to cut? You can't. I mean, it depends on how small we're talking. You can slow down your cuts, and you'll just have to be very, very careful with how you weed it. But if it's just really, really small, like kind of like a distress type, there's nothing you can do. Vinyl is not really meant for any small, intricate pieces because then you're not going to even have enough adhesive for it to really, really stick. That's where things start to crack. They start to fall off because there's not enough adhesive. Everything is not going to work for vinyl, unfortunately. My alpaca that died left lip print smudge. I want to create an art piece so that I can make it into a print for it. You can either, it's a mirror, so that may be an issue. Trying to take a picture of that, unless like when it comes to what's those crime scene where they're putting the dust and like you're picking it up, just seeing it because that smudge, if it's not like a dark colored, and then also with the mirror, you're going to have the reflection. So I can't really advise too much on that. You can try and take a picture, but when you take the picture, you have to make sure that nothing else is like visible. So you may want to put it down and like have like either white or a black like foam board or some type of paper on top because you cannot have any reflection. If it's a reflection, then when you go to try and adjust the colors and trace it, you're going to have an issue. So you're going to have to do a whole lot of to get that to actually take a clean picture. Then you're going to have to use photo editing software to adjust the levels and take down like the brightness and highlights and up the shadows to kind of get that. Once you have that in a black and white form, then you'll be able to trace it. But it's going to take knowledge of photo editing software and being able to try like take it from a lot of different angles. You may have to put it down. Okay, if you have a photo box, that might make it a little bit easier because normally that's just white at the top. If not, get you a piece of foam board, cut a hole in the top, put your mirror down, like you're going to have to put something on the side, put the black or white foam board, and in that hole is where you're going to like lay your phone flat and just kind of move it around. That's the same way my shop box works. And then take the picture from above to where it's not going to be any shadows in that area, no reflections in that area. That's the only thing I can tell you for that. The images are I mean, without knowing it, these are questions where it is best for you guys to post pictures in the group. I don't know exactly how it's set up. I mean, you don't have to put an offset over the whole thing. It may be just increasing the lines of the tiger stripes. So if it's just tiger stripes, I don't know if tiger stripes to be so thin. Also, how big are you trying to make it? Is it large? Are you trying to make it where it's small and it has thin, intricate pieces? No way around it. I mean, try a fresh blade. You can try cutting it at lower settings and multiple times so that you get a cleaner cut to be able to like weed it out. But if it's really, really intricate and you're cutting it on something like as a small size, really nothing that you can do. You can't force it to do something that is just not intended to do. Sometimes there is no answer to some of the questions, or at least not the answer you want to hear. Do you have a recommendation on getting screen print transfers? And does a word art image work with screen print? If you have the word art and you're doing the one where let's say like it's like 300 words or 500 words and you have all of these like really, really, really small ones, those are they're not going to be legible. Because for screen print, in order for you to see it, the parts of the design or the spaces in between need to be at least 1 point because they use a really thick mesh. So you'll see like those parts and some of them may bleed together, but you're not going to be able to see those really, really small words, especially if they were done with a thin font. But yes, you can do word art. All of the bigger stuff will show, just not any of those really small words. As far as screen print, the companies that I have used and I can speak for would be 613 Original, FM Expressions, TKO, Stahl's Transfer Express. I saw their work at Impressions. What is it? Coleman's? No, Howard's. I don't know why I always say Coleman's. Howard's does screen print transfers and Supercolor. Like those are the couple places that I can recommend where I've seen their work, know that their transfers are good. Like they actually do their own screen print transfers. Like they have the large machines and they are screen printing. It's not like you're getting it from someone who's ordering it from someone else. And FM Expression, 613, they have 15-cent programs. You have Howard's, Stahl's Transfer Express. You're just getting gang sheets. They don't have like a 15-cent program. I believe TKO does have a single image, single color. I'm not sure if it's 15 cents, but they have a single image, single color. I don't believe Supercolor has a single image, single color, like discounted one. At any of those companies, it just depends on how many you're trying to do. Screen print transfers, if it's single color, anything 20 or more, it's good to go. But if you have like full on colors, if you're not doing like 50, 75, 100 screen print transfers, it's not going to be worth your while. So my library says full on my laptop and desktop, it won't sync. Okay. you only have so much space. You only get 5 gigs. This is one of the reasons why I tell y'all, don't save to your library. That's not a safe place to save because it doesn't always connect. The best thing to do if you have more than one computer in your workspace is to get cloud-based storage. Whether you're going to purchase a cloud like the WD My Cloud, or if you're going to use Google Cloud, like Google Drive or Dropbox, OneDrive, that is going to be the better place to save it than your Silhouette one. Because once it reaches 5 gigs, that's it. There's no more saving to it. Anything that you save will only be on that device. So if it's full, there is no more saving for them to sync. For the ink in the Epson ET printer, I'm coming up on the expiration date for the sub ink. Wait, for the sub ink still in the printer. Do I need to suck it out? What do you mean expiration date? Who told you sub ink has an expiration date? You can just add it, but there's no expiration date for sub ink. It'll still work. It's still going to do what it's supposed to do. I'm having the most difficult time trying to cut from the Cameo 4. It is really true. Work better. Wait. Is it really true? Dim work. Wait, huh? Work area, bad lighting can affect the cut. Are you doing print and cut or just a regular cut? Y'all can ask questions too on TikTok. What type of cuts are you doing? Print and cut or regular cuts? Yeah, lighting has nothing to do with if you're doing a regular cut, lighting has nothing to do with that. It's just cutting. Now, some people will say, like for their print and cuts, that lighting affects when it comes to their registration marks. That's a bunch of bull too. I've actually done videos. I did them live, no editing. I cut all the lights out. It is pitch black and it still registers. It's about how you set it up. But as far as regular cuts, no, lighting has no bearing on regular cuts whatsoever. If you can let me know like the design you're cutting, what type of file it is, what exactly is happening with the cuts, I probably will be able to give you better directions on how to fix that issue. Some of the things that, while you're kind of writing those out, some things going to affect your cuts. How long have you been using this blade? Okay. How long have you had the machine and how long have you been using this blade? When was the last time you changed your blade? Are you cutting with a mat or with no mat? If you are cutting with a mat, how old is that mat? Does it have a lot of cuts and things like that in it? Do you rotate your mat and cut to both sides, like utilizing both sides of it so it's not a bunch of wear and tear? If you're cutting with no mat, when was the last time you changed out your cutting strip? These are all things that's going to affect your cut. Your blade, your mat, your cutting strip, and the design itself. Welcome in. If you guys are just joining, this is just a weekend edition of Ask the Creative Professor. So whether you have a question about Silhouette, about designing, about business, about certain projects, recommendations for companies, machines, printers, troubleshooting, you name it, I'm here to help. This is audience question driven. If you guys ask no questions, you guys get no gems. This is not a class. All right. Love y'all over here. Y'all are kind of weak with the likes. So we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to TikTok because y'all aren't showing any love. Y'all aren't asking any questions. So for now, we're going to go ahead and say later to you guys over on TikTok. All right. Thanks for joining. Question, please. If I put a picture in the letter, can I put another one in there with it? Yes, you can, as long as both of them are not taking up the full letter. Or let's say you put like a solid picture and then you have a picture where you've removed the background, you can do that. Or if you're going to split it, you just have to make sure that it is split. And it's going to be the same thing. You cannot crop them both at the same time. The same rules applies that you must crop them separately. Let's go. Where's that one I know that I have? I think it's skin. All right, let's move this out of the way because they were no fun over on TikTok. That's what you tried? Come on, Dawn, we know this. Make sure that you are going back to your bachelor's training. So the training that one was in, well, God, which month was it? When we did the Facebook banner, that's one when we practice a lot of multiple cropping. You have to always remember that you cannot crop multiple items. It can only be two things. So you're going to have to duplicate it and then keep pasting that in front and then crop the next item. But you cannot do more than two items in a crop. You cannot do it. It's the paste in front. I spent an hour wasted. This is why if you guys are spending more than 10 minutes, if you're in my groups, right? And you can't figure something out within 10 to 15 minutes, don't let your ego stand in the way. Don't let your pride stand in the way. Come to the group and ask the question. Time in our business, time is money. The more time you spend on something, and especially if you didn't charge a design fee, or even if you did charge a design fee and you thought it's going to take you like 30 minutes, you're now losing money based off of whatever you set your hourly wage to, like whatever your hourly fee is. You're now technically losing money. You cannot move on to those money-making tasks. So if it's taking you longer than 10, 15 minutes, post that ish in the group and get the answer. And it's like, oh, in 2 seconds, you have your answer. And now you're able to move on to more productive tasks. I set these groups up so that you guys don't have to struggle alone. That's what they are here for. Stop struggling alone. 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, tops. That's it. And if you can't get it then, ask for help. All right, so let's say I can't really do a letter because this is like really, really big, but a shape letter is going to be the same thing. So I'm going to crop this down, right? So I'm going to go here and we're going to go crop. This is the outline, like there's nothing else there. So you're going to copy, you're going to paste in front, and it's there, right? You're going to remove the color and then you're going to copy it again. This is where understanding and knowing your keyboard shortcuts is paramount, because you can't really right click. If you go and you right click, you're going to be copying the full on image, or you would have to go up to like to which one would it be? Mirror, arrange, like you can go to the top and hit copy. Well, actually there's duplicate. I like keyboard shortcuts. I always forget where in the heck it is. Okay, here it is. So copy or Control C. So you can either click here or you can go Control C, right? And we're going to take this one, bring it to the front. And I'm just going to put this right here, okay? I'm going to select everything that's here. Although it looks like it's only 2 elements, we've actually already copied and pasted in front. So I'm going to hold down Shift and click. Notice that my box didn't change because I already removed the color from the duplication. And so since my box is still there, I know that I have this area selected and this image. Then we're going to crop. They're cropped to the inside of that. Let me bring in another picture. I don't think I have a different one on here. Oh yeah, I do. I got a whole bunch of them on here. All right, so let's take this one. All right, I'm gonna bring this to the front. So I did a copy of the one that no color was on. Paste in front, hold down Shift, click and crop. All right, I'm gonna do a circle. I'm gonna fill that in with some color. Right click, paste in front, hold down Shift, click and crop. If you have more than one item, it's going to flood the entire thing with whatever the picture is. You're not going to see just that one portion crop. It can only be 2 elements. Incredible greetings. You're late, but you haven't missed much. I think we've only had really like 2 questions. One was like an extended question, 3 questions. So you're not too late and you still have time to ask any questions that you may have. This is not a training session. It's not a class. This is a Q&A. Write it down. Where's our notebooks? Guys, we have to remember to write things down so that we can go back to it and reference it when we forget things, because we're going to keep forgetting them. The older we get, the more we're going to forget. So make sure that you keep a notebook. Don't try to hold all this in your head unless you're going to be doing this day in and day out. A lot of this stuff I'm retaining because I've been doing it day in, day out for years and years and years and years. If you are a year in, 2 years in, heck, even if you're 5 years in, but if you're 5 years into like doing these types of things, but you aren't doing them repetitively and you're not doing them every single day, you're going to forget, and that is okay. But if you write it down, you then have something to reference. Even if you set your notebook up and like, there's certain, like if you go through the 30-day training, right? You have days, and this is actually how the bachelor's program is going to be set up. So for cropping, right? You can create a notebook and you're going to have a tab that says cropping. All the different designs or different ways you would use cropping, you would have notes about cropping under that. If it's the main feature or the main function is subtract, like when are we using subtract? Like what type of designs? Separate them. That way you know exactly where to go. I understand. I know Ms. Dawn knows she has a bunch of notebooks because she was in bachelor. She would have notes and notes and notes and notes. But if they're not organized, you're not going to know where to go at to get that information. Or if you have a bunch of notebooks, go through it, get a highlighter. The same way I teach MJ about studying, get a highlighter. And you don't have to highlight everything. Highlight those major words. So if it's something like, if it's the words of like what type of design technique this is, if you wrote down multiple cropping, just the word crop, like highlight those. That way, at least when you're going through it, you can look at those highlighted areas and see, okay, all right, I know it's cropping. This is what I need. Okay, no, let me go find another word that says like cropping. Ooh, but you have to write it all down. Come on. There we go. I've tried using the Cameo 4 machine a few times to make a cut. However, I never made a decent cut. I just use the software. I typically cut with my Cricut US cutter, mostly vinyl projects. I typically use the mat when trying to cut from it. I just can't make a single cut with the machine. It's getting dusty. I want to use this machine. So what's happening with the cuts? When you're saying you can't make a cut, what's happening? Is it going through the motions, but it's not cutting through? Are you cutting vinyl? Are you cutting paper? When I say vinyl, are you cutting adhesive vinyl? Are you cutting HTV? Are you cutting paper? What type of cuts? Is it shapes? Is it names? I got to know a little bit more about what you are cutting to be able to help you figure it out, because it might be your cut settings. If it's not going through the motions at all, it might be where you actually have it set up on the design page. Because the 4 is actually a pretty decent. Had you said something like maybe the 3, it's that machine had some models where it had major issues, like the blade also, it wouldn't change and stuff like that. But the 4, it actually does a pretty decent job with cutting. Okay, so it's not cutting at all. Is it going through the motions, but it doesn't cut through? I know you haven't cut on it in a while. Do you remember what cut settings you used? Do you ever check to see if it's actually adjusting to the settings? I personally, I'm not what's that thing called? An auto blade girl. I can't stand the auto blade. I never use the auto blade. I have it there for teaching purposes, but I don't use it. I use a ratchet blade. That way I know that it has moved to the blade depth, because I have physically changed it. With some of the auto blades, if you did not so some people think they've put it in there and it's in there properly, but it's not. If there is a gap, when it goes to click, it's not going to tap to the right number. So it'll go through the motions, but if it's like on a 1 or if it's sitting up too high, it's not going to cut through properly. Like, you have to make sure that your blade is seated properly, and do a test cut, like push it to send a cut, let it tap, and then look at it. If it's not on the number that you set it to, if it's supposed to be set to a 4, but it still says 1, or if it's supposed to be set to a 4 and it's at 10, then something is wrong and it's not going to the right number. I go over that in Silhouette First Cut. So if you haven't enrolled in that one, I go through the blades, like how to make sure that they are seated properly, go through all of the settings. I explain like how blade depth, speed, and force, how they work together to be able to cut different materials. So if you haven't enrolled in the First Cuts, that's a good one to consider enrolling in, because that's the one where I break down the functionality of the machines, and I show all of the machines. So it's not just just the 4, just the 3. It goes through all of the machines. Okay. How do you get your image to be true to color when you print and cut? I'm always disappointed in the print quality. I use online labels, white matte, and an Epson Eco Tank. Okay. Is it colors that you are adding the colors to the design, or is it a design where, or something where it's a pre-made design, like you got it from Creative Fabrica, you got it from Google? Also, are you using because you said print and cut and it's matte label, so it's regular ink. So you're using Epson's ink, correct? You're using Epson's dye ink, printing onto regular labels. That's one part of it. And then, are you creating the designs and filling in the colors, or is it a pre-made design that you're having issues with the colors? Okay, so yes, going through the motions, just not cutting through. Maybe that's it. I need to use a different blade. So it's most likely the blade. And it may not be that you need a new blade. Make sure that it's actually seated properly. Unlock it. I always recommend putting your thumb underneath the locking mechanism, putting your finger, your index finger on top of the blade, push down and up to make sure that they have a nice connection. And then you're going to close it and then just do a test. So you're just going to make a square, and send it, like change your number, send it to cut. Once it's done, take that blade out and make sure that it went to that number, because it might just be the way you have the blade seated. If it's all the way down and it didn't move, then you have a blade that's jamming and it's a bad blade and you just want to get a new auto blade, or use your adapter and use the ratchet blade. And I'm going to go over here real quick. You don't have to use any of the settings. If you want to make sure that it is actually adjusting to the numbers, you can move this yourself. I never care about what material this says, because I know what to make my blade depth, my force, my speed. All you do, when you click on this, the color turns blue. You can make this whatever number you want. So while you're testing, you can go and put it to 1, right? You can put your force all the way down. Like that way it doesn't even cut through. The goal is not, like in this test, it's not to see if it's going to cut through. It's to see if your blade is actually adjusting or changing to the number. So take your force all the way down. Take your speed all the way up. All you want to have is a square on the page or a circle. You're going to send it. It's going to, even if it's 1 and the next time you send it as 1, that's the one thing I don't like about the auto blade. It is going to tap all the way to the start and then tap to the number. No matter what, it taps, even on the same number. So go put it in there, send it, pull it out, see if it went to 1. All right. Then maybe even, like, you don't have to do like number for number. Move this. Don't worry about changing any of this. Change it to 5. Yours will say auto blade. Yours won't say ratchet blade like mine. Also, I'm on my 2. I'm not on my Cameo 4. Put it on 5. Leave everything the same. Send it and hit send. It's going to go through the tapping. It's going to, go through the cutting motions. Take that blade out and see if that little red line is on 5. If it's not, your blade is jamming. It's not adjusting. It's time for a new blade. I personally only use my ratchet blades. I can't stand auto blades. I don't like all that damn tapping. So I use only, they're called the old way it was called ratchet, or now they call them manual blades. Like if you have version 4.5 installed, it doesn't say ratchet. When you go to send, it says manual. Okay, so pre-made from Creative Fabrica or from a PDF that I scanned, I use 400 DPI. Is it the Epson ink? If it's the Epson ink, then it's like, what settings are you using? When I do testing for prints and I want to make sure that everything is printing out, I went through and I printed out every single setting. Every single setting. Do I have that? I have no idea where that paper is right now. So you want to send it as like, so let's say I was sending this. You're going to, I'm just going to group this. You're going to put on here the settings that you plan. Like you can write all the settings down. You'll write the setting under here. You'll send it to print. You're then going, there is another way to do it, but y'all don't get that way. Y'all don't get the premium way for free. So the manual way of doing this would be to move this over here, put in another, like, type out the next setting that you're going to print, put that same paper in and print. Move it again, put a new setting, put that same paper in and print. That's the only way that you are going to know how each setting on your printer prints. And how that ink works, like what's going to be the best setting for that ink. Because some glossy paper that I have, glossy is not the best setting for it. My blacks come out purplish. I still have to use premium matte on those because of the type of coating that they have on it. Premium matte is what's going to give me my good blacks and things of that nature. So you have to go through and test out all of your settings. And when I say settings, this is what I mean. Okay, I'm going to go to, doesn't matter which one I go to. So the size of the paper doesn't really matter. The cassette does not matter. Whatever size paper you're using is the paper that you're going to put in there. And you're going to sacrifice a label because how it prints on koala paper might be different than how it prints on this label paper because of the coating that they put on their paper. So you're going to go through and you're going to put bright, plain paper, bright white, set it to high. There's no point in putting on standard because you're going to get the best quality on like the highest possible settings. And on that setting, that's just one. And then when you come over here, you can print out plain paper setting technically about 6 different times. 6 different, yeah. You can have it on automatic. And you're going to put plain paper, bright white, high, automatic. You want to see how the color comes out in automatic. Then when you go over to custom, you're going to print it out with Epson Vivid. You're going to print it out with Adobe RGB. So that's now what? 1, 2, 3 different prints. Then you're going to go with ICM. That's 4. You're going to go no color adjustment. So just for plain paper setting, there's 5. And it's going to be the same thing for all of them, right? 5 different settings. Once you go and you do those, you're going to come back over here. You're going to go to these. I wouldn't recommend doing. You can do high quality plain paper, but it's kind of pointless. You're going to want to go to your presentation mat. You're going to put that. You can do just standard. You're not going to really need to do high, although you can if you want to see if there is a difference. So you're going to either put it on standard or high, but then when you come over here, you're going to send it in automatic. That's 1. You're going to come to custom advanced. You're going to send it in color controls, Epson Vivid. That's 2. Send it in RGB. That's 3. Send it in ICM. That's 4. And then no color adjustment, 5. You're going to do that for each color setting, or the paper type, which does affect the kind of like the color. So then you'll do it again in photo glossy, do it in semi-gloss, do it in premium gloss. It's going to, I know to you all, that sounds like, oh my God, that's wasting so much ink. That's wasting paper. But you are not going to know the true output of your printer on the paper that you are using unless you do this. I talk about this all the time. I have my color charts printed out from every single printer that we have. I sent my color charts out to be printed from both DTF companies that I use locally. I had my, I have it printed from my, like the big printer that we go to that does posters and banners and stuff. I sent my color chart to him. I had him printed out on their matte vinyl as well as their glossy vinyl because the colors come out differently. I have a color chart that I've shown in plenty of videos, and it has the Care Bears on it. I have that in a printed format from my pigment ink printer. I also did the exact same thing with sublimation. It's not really a waste of time. It's not a waste of ink. It's not a waste. It's better for you to do that in a controlled situation, and you know the exact settings that you will need to use versus wasting it as you're printing it out and your colors are all off. Because I did that, that is how I knew like what settings works best for certain skin tones. If it is a digital picture, like just filled with colors, there are certain settings that work best for that. If it was something from a camera, like ICM will work better versus Adobe RGB because it'll put too much magenta. These are tests that I end up doing to where I know what colors or what settings are going to work best for that image and whatever I'm printing it out on. Awesome tip. I'll do that. Do you ever change the gamma setting? I personally use 1.8. 2.2 for me is dark. Some people like the dark setting. Actually, you know what? I actually did use 2.2 recently for a pink. I just needed to be like a little bit, but for the most part, 1.8 works for me. It's just when it comes to those two, it's just a personal preference. One comes out darker. Well, 2.2 just comes out a bit darker. Now, for darker colors, you may want to use that, but most times mine is set to 1.8. How do I make a color chart to go with my printer? I print everything myself. So you don't make a color chart. You go over to our website. We have a color chart there. It's already set up for you. We have a color chart and a reference chart. Or you can always Google it. If you want to Google and find it yourself, you can. But we have it conveniently, available for you. You don't have to go and search all around. And this is how it is. You get color charts and you get color reference charts. These only work if you have a program that has a properties dropper. You open this up, you use the color dropper and sample the color, and then it will give you the hex code. But we have this on our website. Just go ahead and purchase it. And it's already labeled for you for chart 1, chart 2. So like if you're looking for a specific color, you know which chart to go to. Like I said, we have this printed out from everywhere. This is a DTF one. Here is on glossy vinyl from my Roland. Here is one on a tumbler. This was, and look, when I say I print them out, so I have tumblers that say ICM. I have some that say Adobe RGB. This is the one that I printed out from my 7210 in ICM. The one that is in, actually, somebody came to my house and took my other one. I got to figure out where that one is, but someone has one of my other ones. It was in the other office though. But I print this out on basically everything. I have it on glitter cardstock, everything. Sublimation prints using an Epson 7710 in plain paper setting. Whoever them people is, can't remember the ink. My ink is bleeding paper. I can't help you. You got to cut off to them. Only thing I can assist you with is, honestly speaking, sublimation paper. Now, if you would like to get a sample pack of that, and if you're still experiencing those same issues, we can help you kind of work through it. But I cannot assist with anyone else's ink or paper because I don't know what's going on with theirs. I'm going to need the replay on this because I missed the whole thing regarding the colors and papers. This is a tip. This is a need to know tip. Yeah. So that was what, maybe go back to maybe like 50 minutes of this because we're at like an hour and 3 minutes. So maybe start around like 50 minutes for that. But it's just saying to print out, like just test all of your settings, all of them on every single paper that you use. So if on your printer, you use the labels from Online Labels, you use koala paper for glossy paper, you use koala paper for matte, then you have printery matte. They're all going to print differently. So you're just going to print out either whether it's color charts or you can use like on one of mine, I used a picture of Care Bears. I have another one where I had a bunch of the ladies from America's Next Top Model. Yeah, so this is the one with the ladies from America's Next Top Model. Like this is how I figured out colors for people. And I think there's also pictures of a interracial couple and family. And then some pictures of me. But this is, look, So y'all don't think that I'm just blowing smoke up, but like this is what I do. Like every single setting, plain paper, Adobe RGB 1.8, plain paper, fixed color, wait, autocorrect, plain paper, high, fixed color. I don't know what the hell that is. This is plain paper, high, ICM, plain paper, no correction, plain paper, Epson Vivid, Adobe RGB Gamma 1.8, no, Premium Matte 1.8, Premium Matte Fixed Color, Premium Matte, why both of these say, this say Fixed Color, oh, People, because that was a setting. So this was Fixed Color Autocorrect, this was Fixed Color People, ICM, no correction, Epson Vivid, plain paper, fixed color, autocorrect, like literally went through and look at how each one of those, they look different. I'm not this is the type of training and educations, long-winded videos and all. No one gives you this type of training. Or this is why I'm able to answer your questions, because I do these tests. Every last one of them. And I chose, like, I'm very strategic about what I choose to test with, because this picture of these models, there were dark tones, light tones, people with green undertone, like olive undertones, because you don't say green, like olive undertones, red undertones, orange. So all of these different skin types, and then with the color clothing that they had on, it allowed me to see how different these settings are for each, and using the same one. You leave that variable the same. I'm one that likes to do experiments. You don't change all of your variables. So same thing here. Looking at how different the green popped with different settings. So never thought about doing that. Thanks. No, thank you to the person that asked the question. When you guys ask questions, you get good answers. But you know, if those types of questions never come up, I don't know what information y'all need. Although technically I have talked about this in quite a few videos, but I know that we have some people that are new, and I have like, was it like 9 years of videos, so it's impossible to kind of go through them all and know exactly what information you need, which is why I continue to do the live Q&As so that you guys can ask these questions and get the answers, because I have years and years and years and years and years of videos. Have I adjusted the blade to what? What blade are you referring to? I'm looking for my trash can. When you're printing that, are you printing pricks on small individual papers first and then putting them on one? No, I print it all on one sheet of paper. Oh, okay. You were replying to her. Nope. They all go on one sheet of paper, or as many can fit on one sheet as possible. Like this was actually a 13 by 19. Like that's why these are turned. This right here is a full 13 by 19 sheet of paper. But you can do it that way too, if you want to do it that way and cut them out and tape them. This isn't like, I have so People always ask me like about paper, and I'm like, dude, I buy paper, and sometimes I'm just picking up paper. Like I keep so much paper. Ooh. I'm not loyal to any type. If I try it out and I like it, I use it for my projects. If I don't like it, I use it for testing or for things like for myself personally. But I try out so much paper because sometimes the paper that you might like is not available. So you got to have a good, better, best. An option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An option A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I just showed it in this one where there is a more efficient way. That's not something that's available in the free. I'll just kind of, I said it in this one that how I do it, it is a little bit more efficient for me. That is something I share in classes. I want to say the sublimation seminar, I did show them exactly how I do that. And I think also the party favor one, but normally that's like the more efficient way is something that is shown in a paid class. But I just outlined it in this. We can go back and watch it. But what you would end up doing is putting the picture there, putting in your settings. Then you're going to just duplicate it and move it, or delete it, move it over, put that same paper back in, and then you're printing. So it is a matter of putting the same paper in multiple times. Like, so you're going to have to keep running back and forth to your printer. If your printer is not by your computer, you're going to be nice and slim and trim, honey, after running back and forth. But yes, you have to let it print out, put it right back in, change the settings, let that one print, change it. Now, once you get to a point where you're changing the paper type. So let's say you do all of the plain papers and you still have room left, and now you want to do like the premium matte ones. When it's on plain paper, it's going to keep pulling. The moment you change the paper type to premium matte or to glossy, then it's going to trigger a paper mismatch. You just have to be there to like go and just say print on this. Now it's going to be set for premium matte. So you'll send all the premium matte ones, however much space you have left. And when you change it again, it's going to trigger a paper mismatch again. But you're just going to keep putting that same paper in as you're changing the settings. No. Y'all always looking for an easier way. No. There is some things, there is no easy. It's just the way that it has to be done. That is, I'm telling y'all, that's really a big issue. Some of you guys are struggling and spending unnecessary time or trying to avoid it. Y'all, I was trying to look for someone to answer that, and I asked her today, why are you guys so fascinated with the word hack? It's because you guys think that it's easier, but a lot of times it's costing you more money and more time. Nope, no easier way. Print for print for print for print for print for print for print. Yes, I think my mistake was constantly trying different material settings, or this auto blade just doesn't mess with me. Yeah, I can't stand the auto blade. Let's see. Have you used clear sticker paper? The jury is still out on me. I have, but it's not, so I have, if it's normally like darker colors. When you're printing, or let's say it's going to go onto something that is white. But because there's no white to it, it's going to be translucent. So there's really no point in printing on it if it's clear. So I've printed on clear vinyl with my roll-in. I print on clear stickers like this is a clear label right here. It's like kind of like translucent, but this is done with our thermal printer, and I've printed on other ones. But something that's going to be dark, if I, it's just going to be like for a label, something like this. But if it's going to be full on color, hopefully you're putting on something that has a white backing. If not, it's just going to look like stainless glass. It's going to look translucent. She says, change the paper from them other folks. Trust me, that plays a part. It gave me ugly colors when subbing. yes, you should be going over to shop.hsink365.com and getting that Honestly Speaking sublimation paper. You're using it for planner stickers, but why clear though? Why the clear ones versus just printing? If you're just doing a print and cut on it, why the clear ones instead of just regular white labels? Nope, you're not wasting time. Nope, that's the only way to do it. Like, there's a lot of things that I do on the, like, before I even do videos. That's why with the Caesar, it's a lot of testing I do with machines, like especially if it's like something new. When I got my Roland, before I started like really printing things out and cutting them, like I went through a long checklist. It's not a checklist that they give you, it's because I know where issues may come up at, because I've used so many different printers and different cutters. So I go through a series of tests. I did it with this one somewhat, where I always cut out something that is intricate, something that has curls and like swirly thingies, because they cut differently than something that's just solid. When it comes to like me doing the print and cut, I go through it. There's a certain way that certain things that I choose, like for print and cut, and then I'll calibrate. Like I go through extensive testing before I'm like actually utilizing it for actual projects. You guys will get to somewhat experience that as I set up the Caesar. We went through setting it up. I changed the software. You kind of got to see me doing the testing, me kind of testing the blade and stuff like that in that first video. And then there's going to be some other ones, especially when we get to like the print and cut. And you're going to see that I go through these things before I ever cut like an actual project on it. Some people say, oh, it's so easy, you can just open the box and just cut. You probably can, but once you do something else other than that basic cut, you're going to be like, oh my God, what's going on? You're going to waste so much material. I'm one where I rather do all of that in the beginning and write notes so that if and when I come across it, I kind of know like what's going to happen and how to work myself out of that. You can't go wrong with the HS ink paper. Tried and true, tested, has been done before you get it. Exactly. Seems more vibrant. I've used clear decorative stickers for small sticker shops. I mean, because it's glossy. So most times when it comes to the clear one, it is like more of a gloss, and your color is coming from the white of the paper. But if it's not like on a clear white section, and like, let's say it has lines on it, you're going to see that through it. So, I mean, I guess it is a slight difference in color. It definitely is a slight difference in color with printing on clear, because it tends to be a little bit more glossy, but you only get those types of results if it's on something that is solid white. If the paper is off-white, it will change the colors of it. What's the font you use in your text effects course for the word Syllaholics? And is there a course where you show how to do the effects on the word sign? What do you mean the word sign? I don't know what you mean by that. Show how to do the effects on the word sign. What word sign? I don't know which one you've taken. You can really do it for any of them. If it's like the older one, it was probably Vids, which is a very expensive. It can be an expensive font. I'm not sure if one of them, I think I use Closeness, but it doesn't really matter. Like, you can literally do it like those techniques with any font. You can use Impact. Have you done sublimation on Cricut's glow-in-the-dark vinyl? No, I don't really care for Cricut products. To me, Cricut products are more so like for crafters. So I don't really use a lot of Cricut stuff. Ever since they stopped using Caesar, because back in the day, Cricut's vinyl, when you go in the store and buy Cricut's vinyl, that was nothing but Caesar vinyl. So I don't really, once they kind of changed vendors, and I could tell they changed vendors, I don't use any of the Cricut stuff. And not every glow-in-the-dark vinyl works for sublimation. Caesar's glow-in-the-dark vinyl actually does not work well for sublimation. You have a word which is sign. No, it's been so long since I did that one. Yeah, just you can use any font. Is it that? Have you tried using a different font and you weren't getting the same results? What happened when you tried to use a different font? Let me look and see which version you have. Let's see, which text effects class did you take? The original or? Okay, the 3-day text effect. I thought so. Hold on. Is it that you just want that font for your own, like just to kind of have that particular font? Is that what it is? Because there's worksheets. So I thought like with the newer one that I had it to where you got the worksheets with, you're working from the same files that I was. I'm just going to check this here real quick. Where is this? Let's go to Silhouette Songs Academy. Where in the heck is mine? Essentials. I don't know. Let me just download it again. Just so I can check the file. You said the word sign. I see quit without. I don't see a word sign on here unless there was like an impromptu one, which means I would have to watch the video. I'm pretty sure I can see it on the video. Silaholics is back in black. Back to black, back in black, something like that. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Back to black, dim, back to black. No, actually, no, that's not that, because unless that has glyphs. Hold on. I thought it was back to black. Nope, it's not that one. I'm not sure then, because it's no longer in text format, so I'm not sure. I thought it was back to black, but nope, don't know whether it is. But it's a worksheet that is there. So if you're just wanting it because you like the font, yeah, I don't know what it was. But if you're just trying to figure out, like, so that you can follow along, make sure you download the worksheet. No, the word was an example, but in the course you didn't do that. And I like the font you use for syllables. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that was probably one where I just ended up picking one, and I don't know what the one is for that one. What advice would you give me for having used my machine not once? I'm completely overwhelmed. Which machine are you referring to? I don't know. You got to tell me first which machine you were talking about. Yellow background words, red shadows, white offset. It looks like the letters are sunken in. Do you remember what day? Because it's 3 days. Do you remember what day that was on? Text effects, filters, text. 3-day text effects challenge. Day 1. Okay, you said I show it in all the days. That means I probably started it on day 1. Let's see. Skip ad. Oh, that's not mine. That was me showing. Okay, yeah. So that's what it is. I show you that technique though. That's not something that is a font that I have. So that's all created from a technique. So once you go through it, so that's me saying that, you're going to create the 3D effect. You're going to have the outline on top, and then you're going to have like, you learn how to make that inset, and then cut it. So I explained that in that these were all different different techniques and different styles. And I show you how to create that with different fonts. So we go through how to create that. So the first, I asked them in the class which one do they want to do, I think is what I did. And then you learn how to create that. I walk through each one. I'm going to see TPTM, like that was the split text was the first day. And so, yeah, that's not a font that comes that way. Your text effects is how you create that. So where that technique is taught at is on day 2, we do the outline and we do the shadow where you put the other one on top and then you do the modify to it. So we show that in day 2. But I want to say maybe day 3 is probably like the 3D stuff. So let's go back out. Let's go to day 3. Yeah, and I think I even said that we're not going through all of them, but all of the techniques you can then figure out, like from subtracting, cropping, outlines, like you would be able to create any of those. So we do 3D on day 3. And day 3, I'm at about 38 minutes or so is where I show how to do those inner cuts. And then actually also at around like an hour, that's basically the same thing. And then you're just going to put it on top. So that's all different text effects. We also remember that this is like a beginner text effect. Some of those things are more advanced. The more that you learn the system, the and learn how the tools and functions work, the more text effects you'll be able to do. You still didn't answer. Which machine are we referring to? Have you done sublimation on canvas? If it is a 100% polyester one, you can go straight to it. If it is just a painted canvas, then you're going to have to use, if you want it to be the full color, you're going to have to put laminate over it. I've done it more so on the flat canvas. You put laminate over, you press it, you can have a full print. I have also done sublimation to canvases for paint parties where it's just the black lines. You don't want it to be super, super dark anyway. It's just something for them to know where to paint it at. If you're trying to do a wrap canvas, you're going to have to take that off. You're going to have to either coat it with a poly coating or you're going to have to cover the entire thing with laminate. And then you're going to sub that and then put it back around and have a staple gun to staple it back. Or you can find 100% polyester fabric that is woven to look like canvas and then sublimate to that. But most canvases only have a small amount of media over it, like almost like a poly coating, where it will take some of the sub ink, but it will not be vibrant. And if it's wrapped, really nothing that you can do other than like take it out and then put it back. I have shown them like more so, not with sublimation because you really need to make sure that it's even, but I have done it with adhesive vinyl and HTV, where all you have to do is just put like a stack of papers or books to raise that part up and then press for your vinyl to stick. But that doesn't work quite well with sublimation because all canvases, it's not flat on that side. The side that's on the canvas actually has a little hump, which is going to cause air gaps. So you can't really sublimate directly on the wrap canvas. It's best to take the staples out, lay it flat, and then sub it. It's not really a polyester canvas. It's just material. So it's quite pricey. But if you go into like the stores and you look for like ask them about different, you have to look up different polyester ones. Sometimes you have to actually like look at the label that's on them and might say something else. Like the name of the fabric, like the type of fabric might be called something else. But when you look at what the fabric makeup is, it'll tell you that it is 100% polyester or some blend of polyester. But it doesn't really say polyester canvas. It's just a type of woven polyester fabric. So you just got to go through all of them or ask the the attendant there, if they are someone that is into fabrics, they may be able to direct you to it. Other than that, it is going through and like looking through all of the fabrics, or finding a vendor online who specializes in sublimation fabrics, and them having it. For printed canvases, I normally have that done with a solvent, eco solvent, or latex printer. So like for pictures and stuff, I don't typically use sublimation for those. Anyone else have any questions? Or if you don't have any questions, some of y'all are hanging on and watching, like, you can comment. That was great information. Thank you for that. I needed that. I had that question. Like, some of y'all are just sitting in the back, sitting in the cut. Got a long session in front of my printer coming. Thanks so much for the help. Do you carry sub ink for large format printers? I actually have someone who purchases our ink and puts it in there. Contrary to what most people think, it's the same ink. They just sell it in bigger bottles. That's the only thing. So I actually have someone that purchases our ink, and she just pours them into her larger ones. We don't sell cartridges, and we don't have, like, if you need replacement chips for them. But as far as the ink, it's the same ink. Most people just sell them in a bigger bottle, but it's the same ink they sell in their smaller bottles. It's no different. A while back you mentioned using a toaster oven for tumblers. Do you have a class or video? I have tons and tons of videos. Any heat source will work. I personally use the oven that's in my kitchen. I don't really see the purpose of, it's not toxic, it's not harmful, so I'm normally using that oven. If you are using a toaster oven, or like a smaller one, I don't necessarily recommend a toaster oven, but it is a convection oven. Sometimes it'll say toaster. If it's really small, those are not ideal because the heat's going to be right on top of it and it's going to burn. But if you have a nice size, which they sometimes still call it a toaster oven, but it's a convection or an air fryer where the air can circulate, the heating element is not right on top of the tumbler, you can use any of them. There's nothing special to it. You just have to figure out like the right settings for yours based off of how much space is in your, how big the countertop oven that you're using is. Also, when it comes to those styles, they don't have really good seals. Like a regular oven, it's going to seal it. The heat's going to be in there. I don't have a convection oven. It's just a standard conventional oven, no air circulating. But because of that tight seal, I'm able to put it at 350. The whole thing heats up and it subs beautifully. When you have the smaller ones, because of that, the fact that it's not a tight seal on it, you need that air circulating so that it doesn't just burn in one area. but I have tons and tons and tons and tons. Like some of my or earlier videos, I kind of use the oven. You don't really see the oven because when I was at the house, it's still in my kitchen, and I didn't want to have to take the camera into my kitchen, show it. I've never had a dedicated oven in my workspace because it's pointless. Like that was a waste of money. I use the ovens, whether it's my Oster toaster convection oven or if it's our large range oven, I use the ones in my kitchen. You figured that. Can you point me in the right direction of getting large format Epson refillable cartridges? I'm looking. Yeah, I don't use a large format one, so I have no recommendations for that. You're very welcome. No question, but I have been watching you for a while. I had the opportunity to purchase 3 of your classes during the sale period. So excited. Can't wait to finish my orders so I can start my classes. Awesome. Also, like some people, what they'll do is even if they're not actively in it, just so that, it's kind of like learning, not say learning through osmosis, but it's great to have it on as background noise and always kind of keep you motivated. So I have a couple people that do that. It's like I haven't been able to really sit down, but I turn them on like while I'm working because they'll always pick up on little things. So yeah, I probably won't bother to research that until we are in the market for a large format one. And even then, I probably won't be buying them from anyone locally. I know our vendor sells it, but I have no real. I don't like to sell things that I can't test to where people have issues because when they mess up, they don't really see it as okay. Well, I'm using a third party product. It may not work. Like they want to just send it back and get their money back and feel like they're wasting. And if I can't test it and know that, if X, Y, and Z happens, I typically don't sell it. So until we get one, and then then once we get it, I'm only going to carry the ones for like whatever printer we get, not like all of the printers. But yeah, our vendor does sell them. I don't really have, well, I don't know that I have a market or viewers that utilizes it because y'all don't really verbalize to me what y'all use and what y'all need. Y'all be on these things acting real quiet like. So because from what I see and what I see in the groups and the printers that you guys mentioned, there's no need for me to get the larger format cartridges and chips and things. So who's going to go to the website and purchase the 30-day training? Who's going to go buy a class? TextFX, really good class. Also our products, our ink and paper, all available for you on shop.hsink365.com. Whoever that was, I guess she left. I never saw the response back from her. Yes, it is. If you have a question for me, get it in now. I'm about to wrap up. So let me know if you have any questions. It's been almost a 2 hour session. So I will tell you key points is around what I said, around like 50 minutes when I talked about like printing the different, printing out your images in different print types. That was one. In the beginning, we talked about embroidery. I'm trying to remember like some of the key areas to kind of just jump to. Love them both. Can't wait for my paper. Got to get the ink though. Okay. Oh, speaking of paper, because someone asked about like the tacky. The 13 by 19 is sold out. Don't know when that's going to restock. That move, like I think some people are slowly starting to see like the benefits of like the tacky paper, but that won't be restocking. Now, when it comes to the rolls, the pre-order is still open. We have not met our minimum. You have to reach a certain number, and we're going to match certain orders. So we have to reach, we're going to fill in the rest, but we have to reach a certain amount of orders so that then we can match that so that we can get it shipped. They don't, I mean, I'm not ordering from just like, a regular company. You can order one or two. There is a minimum. It's basically the pre-order is kind of like a buy-in. Until we reach that order minimum, I won't be able to actually place the order. We are close, but we're not there. And that's the only tacky paper, like 13 inches, that we're going to have. We're not going to restock the sheets as of right now. But I don't really use it. So people always say like they like it better for shirts. If you've seen me do any of our shirts, any of the sublimation, I'm using the fast dry. I actually prefer the fast dry and recommend the fast dry over the tacky unless you are doing something where it's oversized and you're going to need to piece it together. So don't sleep on it. If you've only ever ordered the tacky, try the fast dry. It's minimum ghost. I know a lot of people get it because they feel like, okay, well, I won't get ghosting. My other regular general paper, I was getting ghosting. I'm telling you, with honestly speaking, fast dry, you're not going to experience all of that like ghosting and stuff. So definitely try out the fast dry if you've only tried out our tacky. And if you've only tried out the fast dry, at least get the sample pack of the tacky to see if it's going to be beneficial for any of your projects. And then you can get a couple packs of like the regular sheets or purchase the rolls. Oh, I just see that you asked that question. Not sure. All right, no, there are no other. No, we don't sell any printable like HTVs. We just recommend ones. We won't be selling any of those. Some companies have done a really great job with it. So yeah, like you can go to technically the only printable HTV, you have to have a solvent, eco solvent printer. And so you can, Caesar has a great printable HTV. So I'm not sure if you mean like a sublimation like type vinyl, but for printable HTV, Caesar's Easy Weed is absolutely amazing. It is what we use if you're looking for one that's sublimation, econo transfers, econo subs. Now I will say the vinyl I don't really care for. I actually got to use that today. I'm not a big fan of the vinyl, but the flock and the fabric is absolutely amazing. You have Caesar's Easy Subly, which works to me better than the Econo Sub vinyl. But yeah, those are the only ones that I use as far as vinyl. I've never used the HTV Ront one or any of those other brands. I stick to Caesar and Econo Transfers. Yes, so you can print, you can't print on darker shirts, so you can put designs. It's important to understand what you are asking for so that you come across the right video. One of the things I just don't like is when people say, oh, how to sub to dark shirts. You can never sublimate to a dark shirt. You are going to sublimate the glitter HTV, the Caesar Easy Subly, Econo Sub Flock, Econo Sub Fabric, things like that. That's how you would put a design on a dark shirt. You're never actually decorating the dark shirt. You're putting it on that particular material. And it is different. So if you say printable HTV, my mind is going to instantly go to eco-solvent printing. So using a roll-in or a converted Epson printer to eco-solvent. And then you would use Caesar's color print easy. That is actual HTV. Most of the other ones aren't really like HTV like. They're more, a lot of them can be like a transfer. For colored shirts, I personally still like Jet Pro 3G. Like that's still like one of my all-time favorite things to use if I am putting a design on cotton shirts or darker shirts. As long as they're cotton, not the poly blends. Jet Pro 3G, I can do it on a regular printer. Still one of my all-time favorites. It's still my go-to. I just did a shirt and I just did it to glitter HTV. So I have that. I have my EconoSub. I have Caesar Easy Subli. Those are the ones that I use. So Sublimation would be glitter HTV, Caesar Easy Subli, EconoSub Flock, EconoSub Fabric. The only things that I ever use. If it's just regular ink, I'm using Jet Pro 3G. If I'm using my roll-in, I'm using Caesar Color Print Easy. Show the sublimated colors on the gray shirt you are wearing. Someone actually asked me how I know today. That was so cool. I was in Wawa's and she read it through the door, through the window. And then she came and she asked me, what does that mean? That was kind of cool. That was really funny. She's like, I had to come in and see what that said. And so, yeah, that was pretty cool. I will say EconoSub Flock. It's my absolute A plus. Yeah, that Flock, because I actually I tried to use the, where is it? I think I just threw it in the trash. I tried to use the sub today. So this was a shirt, and on this shirt, it like, I don't even know, because once I put it on here, because I end up using my, what is this thing called? I use the transfer paper, like the clear transfer from my Caesar DTV to pick this up, which it actually picked it up. But when I pressed it, I don't know what the heck happened to it because the print did not line up in any way, shape, or form. And then I did it the way that I would do glitter HTV, where I cut it out, I put the print to it, and then press it and basically make a patch. It's good. Like, it's really thin, like really, really thin. So much so to where it stuck to the paper, kind of, sort of. So unfortunately, the EconoSub vinyl, the way that I traditionally do sublimation to vinyl, is a no-go. One of these days, I'll probably put it through my printer. Well, actually, I have to order more, but I'll try and put that through the printer. But how I typically do them, where I basically make like a patch, or I put it on the shirt first and then press it, the EconoSub vinyl, no. The flock and the fabric, amazing. I stopped using Caesar Easy Sub. It's good, but the colors fade quicker. So I've never experienced like fading as far as like becoming washed out. What I will say has happened with the Easy Subli, depending on how it was stored, where the colors start to blur out. It was kind of weird. That's the only thing that I've experienced with the Easy Subli. But those are ones that weren't washed. Like they were stored in a box, and then I pulled it out. I was like, oh, what the hell? So yeah. Yeah, the Econo Sub vinyl, I'm not a fan of. The flock and the fabric is amazing. Yeah, it blurs out. So the colors start to like bleed out or blur out. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's because we're using water-based ink and it was designed to be used with a specific sawgrass ink. Because I think some people say if you use just the regular Subli Jet, it still happens. But that was made not for water-based inks. It was made for the gel inks. And then the Easy Subli ink, I think it has something in it that will keep it from blurring out like that. So it's like that product was made to go with that ink. That's not one of those interchangeable type products. Oh, so someone else said, I had the blurring of colors on Easy Subli after washing, just on a couple of bags I did. Yeah, I had one shirt where when I washed it, it didn't necessarily happen, but the shirt that I just had just sitting, it did that. I've never used the Econo Caesar or Principal HTV. Do you have a video for that? Of course I do. I have plenty of videos for that. All on Honesty Speaking's YouTube channel. There's not much in that realm that I don't have a video on. Like I don't do a lot of rhinestones, but I do have a few videos on rhinestones. Back in the day, I still did like the glitter mugs, but I didn't use epoxy. I don't really like epoxy like that. But I did the live video when I was on with Patrice, and we used like the resin one. You just have to like use but it was on a pen. So I've done a little bit of like some of everything. Of course, no embroidery because I don't have an embroidery machine. Can you share the link for, I don't have a link myself, just search for Econo Transfers. I don't currently have I don't think they even have an affiliate program. I'm not sure. So just search for Econo Transfers and their website will come up. Just Google it. So the company is called Econo Transfer. So if you just Google Econo Sub Flock, it may not come up. Econo Sub Flock. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of other places, but Econo Transfer under sponsored, Econo Transfer does come up. So you're just looking for Econo Transfer, ECONO transfer.com. But if you just put in Econo Sub Flock, their website does eventually come up. They actually also have it on Amazon. So you can get it on Amazon as well. I'll probably put the Amazon one on my Amazon storefront, but you can go right to their website. Let me put this add to list. Sublimation. I just added the one on Amazon to my Sublimation storefront on Amazon. Hi, Professor. Joined late. Wish me luck, please. I'm replacing my current sub ink with HS365 ink. I'm excited to see the ink and paper in action. Which printer do you have? But thank you for being full on Team 365 now. Which printer do you have? So I'll see how much luck you really need. All right. So it's your 8550. Are you replacing all the colors or just whatever is low? Aw, thank you. So when you say replacing, are you planning to like drain all the ink out, or you're just doing whatever color is like to that triangle? So here's the thing. Removal kits are not ideal when it comes to EcoTank printers. People sell them. It is great for marketing, and people are like, oh, I want to switch inks. They think the ink is bad, or I put the wrong ink in there, and they will get these kits. Because it is a printer that has lines to it. And once you open that up, so you have to open the top, take that crate off, and you're going to take those little cartridges out. Or you can leave the cartridges in, and then you're going to pull the pull the line, and there's really no kit that you need. Like, I'm not sure what this kit is they sold you, but you really don't need a kit. Unless it is a syringe and a needle that's like this big to go through the ink port. Any kit that you have is probably going to have cleaning solutions, all that, and that's pointless for what you're trying to do. Now, if you want, you can take it out, and all you have to do is literally put your syringe to that line and suction. You will never, ever, 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 ever get all of the old ink out. Once you go and you've pulled that, because you have now basically broken that seal, it's not tight. You have to wait for that ink to flow back, and then for it to flow inside of those cartridges, which can be quite difficult. You will do that, and it may end up causing an air clog, and they are not easy to clear from a EcoTank printer. I don't recommend opening up your printer and trying to siphon the ink out and doing it that way. For some people, it can work. For others, it's a disaster, because once you do that, the ink does not always fully flow back through. The best way to transition to a new ink is color for color for color as that ink wears down. So as a color goes down and it gets down to that last line, let it go a little bit more, right? You want it to get a little bit under that line, but just be very, just monitor it as far as like how much you're printing. You want to then put just a little bit of sub ink in there. Like, don't let the whole thing fill up. Maybe then go to like the second line. Print, and let that go. What you're doing when you put a little bit in there, it's still going to somewhat mix, but more of that old ink is coming out. It might be a while before you are fully transitioned to the new ink. Now, depending on the ink that you had in there before, you can put it on top, and it's really not going to make much of, like, it may not make much of a difference. The only one that I can say makes a big difference is if you have black ink, that the black ink that you have, if it's more of that like rusty brown type color, you can put our black in there darn near immediately. It's going to help. It's going to change the performance of it, because it's going to make it a true black ink. But other than that, you can choose to just mix it and take your chance with however that color mix. You may experience some difference in color, you may not. But if you want to slowly transition, it's like, transitioning natural hair. You kind of let it grow, you trim some, you let it grow so that it's not like this shock of, oh my God, I have a TWA. You want to put a little bit of ink, just do about your printing, and maybe about like the second cycle of letting it get down to that line, then top it off, because any ink that was settled at the bottom or in the lines that was the old brand will be gone. But I do not recommend any kits when it comes to EcoTank printers. To make a mock-up, is scanning your item the best way to get the exact size. To make a mock-up, to make a template, I scan it. But if you're just wanting to make a mock-up of something, normally the customer, like me, where you buy it from, they probably already have the blank substrate there. And you just need to pull that and just take, trace it so that you can put your design on it. And especially if it's going to be a full bleed, but to create a template, you want to scan it. But just for a mock-up, you can literally use any picture, any mug, any tumbler, or you can use the mug animator. Mug animator is what I use for tumblers, mugs. I just did a button. I use mug animator because they have a button on there. That's what I typically use for mock-ups. Mock-ups don't have to be exact sizes. She said, I promise you, I'd be so excited after your lives. Yes. Okay, so you would have been really upset. This is not a patience thing I can handle. Professor, my colors are not up to par versus my 7720. I can't believe it. That's not a printer thing. You would have went through all of that and you would have been highly upset because you still are not going to get the same colors. This is what I talk about all the time. This is why I repeat it. Some people ask me, oh my God, did you say that in the video already? Sometimes people don't hear it. Maybe you never heard me when I talk about EcoTank printers. So here we go. If you are someone that's watching and you're watching live, because I guarantee no one's going to watch this for 2 hours and 6 minutes to get to this point. So if you are watching live and you have never heard me talk about the disadvantages of EcoTank printers, let me see you wave your hand or put a 3. Wave your hands or put a 3 if you've never heard me talk about why I don't recommend EcoTank printers. Wave your hand or put a 3. This is why I'm always repeating stuff, because sometimes people have not seen the video where I've gone through that in detail. Oh, Tempest was the word you were looking for? Yes. So you want to scan it, correct? I'm looking for my ink. I don't see my box, so I can explain this. Okay, I gotta go grab an ink because I don't have any ink in here. I think it's when I was refilling my. So only 3 people. Okay, so the rest of you guys know. All right, give me a second. I'm going to explain to you 3 why I do not recommend EcoTank printers. I just got to go get the ink real quick. Hold on. All right, y'all ready? Thank you, Jesse. All right, so when it comes to EcoTank printers, I don't care if you paid $200 for it or if you paid $800 for it. Every single EcoTank printer, except the 16600 or 16650. Every single EcoTank printer, no matter the cost, except for the 16600, 16650. You know what? Even though they be tripping sometimes, I'm going to try and do this on TikTok. Hold on. Because people like to go over to TikTok for this information and they be getting the wrong information. So hold on one second. Someone says, I already had one by the time I heard you say it. So you are about to make me cry over this birthday gift that is more than 30 days. Are you about to make me cry? Maybe it might make you cry. It might make you cry. Sorry. Okay, so let me now repeat it again now that I'm live on TikTok. Every single Epson EcoTank printer, except for the 16600, 16650, will yield incorrect colors, especially if you have ever had and seen the colors from a workforce printer. The 16600 and 16650 printers are pigment ink printers. This is what pigment ink looks like just when you're looking at ink. This is what pigment ink looks like. Every single Epson printer except 16650, 16600, no matter how much you've paid, $179, I think it's like the 2300, it's like $179, all the way to the 8550, which is like $800. Every color except for photo black uses this. This is dye ink. This is dye-based ink. Do you see this? This looks like food coloring. If I had the magenta in my hand, it would look like a really dark, like it almost looked black or brownish in the bottle. Same thing with the cyan. This is what it uses. This is pigment ink. This is why the workforces were the best printers for sublimation. And you got amazing colors. You didn't have issues with your grays. You did not have issues with your reds and teals. You don't have issues with your like a lot of like, oh, you have somewhat like where it's like too much magenta. If you use like Adobe, you can always adjust the settings. But this is why they were the best, because they use pigment ink. It was designed to use pigmented ink. Okay. Y'all see the color of this. This is the color of it, right? This is dye ink. Looks like food coloring. This is yellow. It looks orange. This is sublimation ink. What does sublimation ink look like? Pigment or dye? Because the firmware or the way the printer is designed, that even if you look at the top of this, it looks orange. But if I were to put this in my printer and I was to do a nozzle check, it will come out yellow. The way that a dye-based printer processes ink to give you the accurate color is different than the way a pigment ink does. This has a better color gamut. However, this is ink that will smear. Like if it gets wet, it's going to run. But you can get like some of your neon, your hot pinks with this color. This does not have as wide of a color gamut. But when it comes to converting printers, it is the best type of printer because the ink is, it can process, it's going to process this ink, even though it's heat activated, the same way it's going to process the color for this. These are not mixed the same way. So when you are using a printer that is a dye-based printer and you are putting sublimation ink in it, the color changes. There is no color profile Y'all like to hear this. Y'all want to go to the companies that are going to tell you, use this color profile. It's going to make your colors great. They're lying to you. It's called marketing. They want you to hear. This is why they advertise it as Eco Tank ink. Sublimate. It's no such thing. It's the same damn ink. We sell this. It has an Eco Tank top. That's the only thing that makes it ideal for Eco Tanks is the top. It makes it easier to put it in. But this ink is the same one that you're going to use in a cartridge-based printer. Some people sell it. They have the ones with the regular top to use your syringe and needle in, and then they have some that's a waste of money. They wasting their time. It's the same exact ink. Okay. Whenever you do this, your colors are going to be off because they're going to print darker. You can never get correct colors from a printer that uses this ink and you're putting sublimation ink in it. There is no color profile that's going to fix it for you because there's no color profile that's going to convert pigmented ink into dye ink. There is no color profile that will change pigmented ink into a profile for dye-based inks. People like EcoTank printers because they are convenient. They're easy to fill. We think that, oh my God, converting is so hard. No, it's not when you do it the correct way. EcoTank printers are the worst when it comes to maintenance. Once those suckers stop printing, there is no pushing of air to blow out air clogs. You're going to waste so much ink so much ink and time trying to get it to unclog. For some people, it worked. For the majority of people, it does not work. It does not work with you can do power cleanings and it still will basically become a paperweight. This is why we sell the ink for it because y'all want to buy it, but it's not one of my recommended ones. I recommend the 16, but I know that's pricey. That's $1,000. People want to kind of just get started. If you want to get started, you can use it. Now, is it going to be totally off on all the colors? No. Some things you're not going to really be able to tell much of a difference. And for some, it's like your customers don't know if this is the right color or not. So it's not going to matter to them. When it becomes an issue is if you're doing something for a company that has specific colors for their organization, for their company, and it needs to be a specific color. Then you're going to notice the difference, and they're going to notice the difference, and they're going to be like, what in the HE double hockey sticks? But if you're just printing out something like this, they don't know what shade of pink this is supposed to be. They don't think this ish is beautiful. They're not going to care. Comes to this, hey, it's just pink. I know I saw the mock-up. It can be like a certain color. Like, unless it's totally off, they're not going to care. All they see is their child face. Oh my God, she's so pretty. My baby's face is on the cup. Woohoo! That's all they care about. Something like this. Okay, how do I know what color shade, like what shade it's supposed to be? Now, when you're doing school things, or like, let's say the Eagles is a big one. Dolphins is a big one where on EcoTank printers, those colors look off. They are horrible. Teals, greens, reds, royal blues come out looking purple. No way around that. You can go through all these settings. You can go through ICM. You can go through Adobe. You can go to no color. You can try them all. Your colors are going to be off. That's where this comes in at, to where if you are filling in the colors, even if you're using this printer, if you need it to match a company's color, you need it to match a school's color, a team's color, you have your color chart. You're going to look for a color that's as close to that as possible, and you're going to use that color code. But for anything that's pre-made, you don't know what color code that designer used. Your colors are going to be off on any EcoTank printer. Like, they're going to be slightly off compared to a converted printer that uses pigment ink. And even with the pigment ink one, I like the colors on them, but there are times where it's like it's a little bit off. So those colors are going to be off compared to a true sublimation printer. Any converted printer, the color's always going to be slightly off. But for any EcoTank, the color gamut, like the color range, is way, way off. You'll never get your 8550 to match the colors of your 7720 or 7710, 7820, 7840. It will never, ever match. If you are doing a large job and you're like, oh, well, I got two printers because I want to, print out from both. The colors on those designs from those two printers are going to be vastly different unless you have put in a color code and each one of them has like a separate, like you're printing from a separate file. They're going to be off. Girl, I already know this. See, I can tell you exactly. I know. Look, y'all be sleeping on my skills, okay? Y'all really be sleeping on my skills. Nobody else that sells ink is going to tell you this because they don't run these tests. I can pretty much tell you almost every single color that you are going to have an issue with. Why? Because the professor does the test. The professor provides this information. Y'all like to go to these other companies because they're popular, but when the shit hits the fan, they cannot help you in any way, shape, or form. So I already knew it. It's the Eagles. Girl, I already knew that. Eagles, especially Dolphins, depending on which one you get for Atlanta, but for San Francisco, baby, them colors be off, off. Let's see. My Epson F170 and EcoTank 15,000, I swear my colors are the same. Teals and purples, right? Yep, teals, certain greens, most reds, like especially if it's a red that it's more closer to the orange spectrum, it's going to come out more orange than it is red. Your purples and your royal blues, like your royal blues will come out being more purple. So those are some of the major ones. Certain pinks, but for the most part, yeah, your teals and purples. Okay, girly, I cannot watch this video as much as I love to, but your camera angle is bam. I'm not sure what that means. Exactly. It's closer to the pigment. Sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, it's good for certain things, but yeah, your colors are going to be off, especially. Yeah, be off. Sorry. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Workforce has been great for me. 7710 and whoa, how did you just get on my live? Lies you tell. Who is this and how did you get on here? I did not approve for anybody to be on here. Oh, that was Tina. Hey, how'd you get on here? But okay. It doesn't require me to approve anything. How art thou? You are on my live. I have no idea how. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know I sent an invite. Okay. Okay. I love you too. I was just like, I'm in a bar, girl. Is our workforce so the old school workforce printers, no. The ones that are like the best ones, the 7710, 7720, 7210, 7610, 7120. Wait, 7610, 7620, 7110, 7710, 7720, 7210. There we go. 7110, 7210. Those are all the old workforce. They use the 252s, best printers out there. Are there workforce printers available now? Yes. Howbeit ever, they do not have any type of auto reset or resettable feature to the chips. So if you were to get a Workforce 7820, a Workforce 7840, a 7310, they use 812s. And with these 812 cartridges, you have to also get chips. Right now, we are out of certain colors and we are working, like they sent us a set. I did the firmware update. It still wasn't working. Now, if you buy chips from us and you need to revert, we do send it out, but you have to send us a message. We check and make sure that you have purchased your chips from us, and we will send it out to you. If not, you can. The information is on the internet. You just have to Google it. But if you want to save yourself some time, if you purchase from us, you can send us a message and we'll give you the instructions. Now, that I know of, these instructions only work for the 7820, 7840 because they use the same firmware. The one for the 7310, we haven't figured out a firmware for that one. So if you've updated your firmware or you have a newer printer, like you just got your printer, it has the updated firmware, the chips from most companies are not going to work. You would have to buy Epson cartridges, pry the chip off, modify your clip, and then put the chip on there. So there are Workforce printers. They do use pigment ink. However, you have to use replacement chips. There is no reset option for the new Workforce printers at all. Yes, I love, wait, where's my chip resetter? I just used my chip resetter too. Where'd it go? I just had to reset my chips. Oh, wait, where'd my chip resetter go? I don't know where it's at, but I just used mine this week too. Love, love, love my chip resetter. That's why I clean and I do maintenance. I try to protect my old school workforces, but I also have 2 on reserve. If I ever need them, I got 2 on reserve for my workforces. She's like, I'm going to apologize and kiss my 7720. She's going back into sub rotation. You took her out thinking that the 8550 was going to be better. No, ma'am, no ham. Oh my goodness, you are so knowledgeable. Thank you. I try to, keep up on everything that my audience needs because I teach it. So I try to make sure I keep up on everything. I'm knowledgeable, very knowledgeable about the things that I need to know about. I have a 7710 and a 7310. Okay. I'm learning everything I have. I'm learning everything I have is an EcoTank. I'm learning everything. I have an Epson EcoTank 16600. Exactly. Yes. And we actually have some more coming in because a lot of people are like, wait a minute, where are the chip resetters? We have some more coming in. Y'all give this goddess some love, throw up some hearts. Thank you, Tina. So yeah, I would say for certain things, like if it's like generic like designs or ones where you're not looking for a specific color, definitely use your 8550 for that. But when you're looking for specific colors, then use your 7720. That way you can get use out of both. But yeah, if you're looking for the right color for the Eagles and on that printer, it ain't gonna happen, child. Where can I find the firmware version for? I have no idea. We have not been able to find one yet. Where can you find the version of the version dates? I don't know about dates, but if you want to know which version you have, once you do a nozzle check, it tells you the firmware version that you have. Now, which one is which? I have no idea. I don't own a 7310, so I'm not sure. And we haven't been able to find one and then test it because we can't test it. We have a 7820 and the 7840, so we can always test the firmwares, but we cannot test for the 7310. Did I miss my answer to the question about the vault? I don't remember seeing a question about the vault. Let me go up. Okay. I remember you speaking about a vault, video vault. How do we access those? So I'm not sure. So for anyone that signed up for most classes, like it should be on your dashboard. If it's not, then you can send a message depending on which class you have taken. If you have like the 30-day training, it was a part of that. We add like probably have to go in because I think the last time that I did it, or it might be, I'm trying to remember how we did that one for you to get access, but it's only if you have the 30-day. It's not like it's a lot of videos in there. The goal is to start adding videos to it, but there aren't a lot of videos in there now. My 7310 didn't last 6 months. Which version should I use? I have DE Design Edition. The recommended version for me right now is 4.3.370. I am hoping and praying that because they have this high power cutter in this Cameo 5, that the next update of Silhouette Studio 4.5, whatever, 4.6, whatever it is, I am hoping once these cutters release and they are out into the world, like really, really out in the world, that they have really worked on this software. Because the last time I went to 4.5, it sucked. And I don't have a rinky-dink type computer, and it sucked. So I personally still use 4.3.370. But I have my fingers crossed, y'all. Like I got fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed, everything crossed, crisscross applesauce, that this version that they like, so they haven't added anything to it as far as like functionality, no additional features or anything like that. But the latest beta version has support for the Cameo 5 and the Portrait 4 and the Curio 2. So I'm hoping that they have worked it out to where it runs smoother, because that is ridiculous to have a new machine, but your software for it sucks. So I'm hoping that the necessary changes have been made to it. I'm waiting until the website starts shipping them out. I can download the beta, but because the machines aren't even shipped out yet, I'm concerned about it. So I'm waiting to see if they update it again once people actually have the 5 in their possession. Once they do that, whatever the latest version is, I will be updating to it. Y'all know I do it live. I go through, I see how it works. I don't use the program like your typical crafter, or probably how they are using it. I'm going to really test out certain things, and I know the key areas to go to really see how that version is performing. So the moment they are actually selling them, and like it no longer says out of stock and people have inventory of them, I will be updating the software, because if you got the machine, you got to have the software for it. So I will, of course, come live. I'll update it, and I'm going to see how it operates. If it's glitchy, I go through opening up PDF files, saving to see if it shuts down. Like all of those things I will test once it's released. Cameo 5, yes. So if you don't know, Silhouette America had their Silhouette Summit in Hawaii this past week, and they released a Cameo 5, a Portrait 4, and a Curio 2. The features are that it's supposed to now be the quietest machine on the market. I guess they're saying it's quieter, even quieter than the Caesar machines, but it still uses the same type of blade. Like I think I'm waiting for them to update their to update it, but because they're kind of stuck on this whole auto blade, I don't foresee them ever updating their blade carriage. But yeah, because they like their proprietary like blades, Whereas with Caesar, with the Solo, you can literally buy blades from anywhere. You don't have to buy it from them. So it's supposed to be quieter. They now have powered tools. So instead of, like, I have one, let me see. I don't think it's over here. I think it's over here. So I have a foil quill, but when it comes to this, you have to have a power supply for it. So you have to either, be able to plug, like, it's close where you can plug into your computer, or they have separate power supplies, or you can even use like the power supply, like a power bank from like your phone. But these have to be powered in order to use the foil quill, because it heats up and it's basically hot foil. So now on these, they have like 3 little prongs, and it's for powered tools. So it plugs right into the machine, and you won't need to use this style of foil quill or like hot foil, because you have to have a power source to use these. So now you can just put it on there and just go, like, just use it. So they have that. They now also have, it's an addition. It doesn't come in the box. So yes, you can still use the old traditional mats. However, the way that it's made, loading mats is going to be a little bit more difficult than on all the previous models, because they moved the bar, the pinch roller bar, to the front. So you don't have room to lay your mat on to hold it there to catch it as it feeds in. They changed this because they now have an electrostatic mat where it's not sticky. You have to turn it on. It creates the static, and your paper or your media, as long as it's smooth media. You can't use it for textured papers or anything like that, because it has to remain flat. So if you are a card maker and you use textured papers, it's not going to be great for that. And I think even like with glitter, it needs to like really sit flat. And with that one, it's going to be where it cuts it. You can cut intricate things. It's probably better for like vellum or thinner papers that might rip. So it's going to prevent the tearing when you try and take it off. It's going to prevent curling, like, unless you like turn it over, you use a spatula. Warning, like, the bad side of that is if you forget the mat, you touch that, it's going to shock the hell out of you. It's not a bad shock because it's not, high powered, but it's static there. So it's going to give you a little jolt. So they added that. Of course, they changed the look of it. They took away the repeat job because there was no like words on it when they went to the 4. Everything was like just light up buttons. So now they've added a light up button for repeat job. So they brought that back. And they've changed like the pinch rollers to move the stuff or whatever, which I don't like the way they look. They are these really big clamps, but they're in the front of the machine. I can see if it was kind of like, there are big clamps on the Caesar machines and the StarCraft Solo, but they are behind the machine. These humongous clamps are in the front. Weirdest friggin' design ever. What else? That's about it. Electrostatic mat. It's quieter. Repeat function, the repeat job function, powered tools. Oh, and you can now use the embossing tool that was made only for the Curio. You have to purchase an embossing mat, but you can use embossing, but it does cut through the paper and then it goes back over that with the embossing tool. So those are the only like major features. They did not feature anything. They didn't show any improvements with print and cut. I don't think anyone at the summit was even doing print and cuts at any of their stations. It was all like the same old cuts everybody was doing. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. The mat sounds amazing. It's not. Don't let it fool you. It's really not. It wasn't unnecessary. To me, it was unnecessary. I changed my 7720 back to run as an inkjet. Do you think I will be able to convert it back? Oh, yeah. Oh, I have one printer that I have converted back and forth for videos and Yeah, you can. It's it's harder to go back to a pigment ink. If you want to go to sublimation, all you do is just put a set of sublimation cartridges in there. So hopefully you have two sets of cartridges. Now you can't just go switching back and forth, but if you're done with it as an inkjet, like for now, you don't want to go back to the whole like long process and you just want to make it a sub, you can just take your sublimation cartridges, put it in there, do push air, and it's done. Like really all you have to do is run a printhead cleaning and you're done. But just to be on the safe side, go through, get your syringes, put your paper towel in there, push air to push a little bit of the ink out. You're now converted back to sublimation. Easy as that. So for the most part, yes, it's well, they said that no, I think they said it's it might be slightly different. Hold on. Shoot. My bad. Well, before y'all couldn't hear me because I was talking to my husband. So, so what I was saying here was any Epson printer can be used for sublimation. Like you never have to question whether or not an Epson printer can be used for sublimation. Any of them can be converted. It does not matter if it is an eco tank, an artisan, an expressions, expressions, impressions, whatever the heck it is. If it's a workforce, it does not matter. Every Epson printer, from the small desktops to the they end up making the F570, but there is actually a 24-inch printer that was out way before the F570, and that can be made into a sublimation printer. Every Epson printer can be made into a sublimation printer. Now, if that printer uses cartridges, whether it's a small cartridge, a large cartridge, the big cartridges, you have to find compatible, not just cartridges, it's the chips. Because for that small cartridge, there is 202, 212, 252s, for something, like it's a bunch of them. For the longer ones, you have 812s, 802s, 702s. There's a lot of chips that go onto the longer cartridges. So you have to find a compatible refillable cartridge chip or a compatible chipless firmware. There's not a chipless firmware for every single printer, or a continuous ink system with a compatible chip. There are continuous ink systems that are sold for the 7820, 7840, 7310, but they do not come with chips. You still have to put the refillable chips, the replaceable chips on them, or get Epson chips and put them on there. They do not come with chips when you have the continuous ink system. The only thing that they did on those is they put the longer cartridges on it. That's it. Then the next one was about the firmware update. I call it a firmware update, but it's going down. The new printers that come in, they're going to have the updated firmware. Epson is not manufacturing printers with a firmware update from 2 years ago. So the new ones are going to come with the most updated firmware. And if you have that, it's still not going to work. So you have to do a firmware update, meaning just updating doesn't always mean going to the next one. You are updating what is currently there. You are changing what's there. So you have to do a firmware change and go back to an older one. We only have the older firmware update for the 7820 and 7840. We don't have one for the 7310. Am I the only one that has issues with my magenta, my 7720? It always clogs. I don't. So I'm always having issues with my cyan. Yeah, I don't really have it to like one particular color always clogs. But it's in those printers, it's an easy fix. You just push air and it's kind of done. Yeah, I don't know. It might be like if you're constantly having clogs in it, it might be time to like not just push ink through it, but actually push cleaning fluid through it. My cyan, yellow, and black always on point. Magenta be making me making me redhead smack it maybe making me redheaded smack it around. Oh, it makes your hand red from smacking it around. Yeah, it might be time to like really flush that particular head with cleaning solution. All right. This has been almost 3 hours. I'm going to go. That was my husband calling me, asking me where I was at. So I was going to go. Oh, look. I wish I'd have saw this earlier when Ms. Dawn asked me about multiple pictures in a letter, because let's see. This is my aunt's memorial, like memorial design. Oh, look. Here's another example of the fact that I'm always testing. So this was Jet Pro 3G, and I needed to know what was going to be the best setting for my Jet Pro 3G. So I printed out plain paper standard, plain paper high, premium matte standard, premium matte high, photo glossy standard. And on here, it looks good, but the photo glossy, it actually looks purple. The ultra glossy, it looks, I don't know what kind of color it is, but it ain't black. The only ones that gave me black were plain paper high and premium matte, and standard and high look exactly the same. People are always saying, oh, you should use premium matte high. Premium matte high and premium matte standard literally gives you the exact same quality. It doesn't change it because premium matte is a quality setting, but no one wants to believe me, but I'm not saying that just to say it. I've done the testing. I did the testing, people. They are the same. Actually, even on this one, premium matte standard came out better than premium matte high, just, you know, on the premium word. But here on this one, it's actually two different pictures. So there's a picture in the top of the T, and then there's that one. This also has two pictures in one letter. This has two pictures in one letter. This one has two pictures in one letter. This one has two or three pictures. No, this is two pictures. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures in one letter. Hold on. I'm going to show y'all. Hold on. This one has the top part, and then in each of the bottom parts of the M, it has pictures. So this has 4 pictures in one letter. And so I'll show y'all on this side. Does the cleaning fluid always have to be hot? No. It can be right out the bottle. Room temperature. I warmed mine with, I warmed mine with warm water, but I don't trust it room temp. Yeah, that doesn't affect anything. No, this one is for my aunt. This is when my aunt passed. Oh, you're still here, Ms. Dawn. What course? 30-day training, teaching about cropping. Yeah, I'm not big on pictures. So for my shirt, it's just the letters without the pictures in it, and just so it just says the life of Patricia Morris, and then it has this. So mine is just in white vinyl because I personally don't wear shirts with people's pictures on them. About cropping, yes, there's a whole section on cropping images to text. There's a whole day just for cropping images to text. I probably did. I'm on TikTok on the phone, so I didn't check it to see. Oh, I came back. I did mute it. When my husband called me, I muted it. Yes, if you have the 30-day training, you are on point. Now, we are going to do more of this. So Monday, will be the first day to sign up for the bachelor's program. Some people have been in that and they missed that. That's when we have our weekly sessions. The bachelor's program is actually going to be 6 months. The master's program is 3 months because master's is just designing. The bachelor's program is a total of 6 months. The first month and a half, we are going over basically the 30 days, but not like each individual day. You have to still have the 30 days. It is going to be our foundational piece, almost like, if you go to college, you have a workbook, or you're in school, you have a book that you're learning from. So there's going to be days like where we'll go over like day 1 through 4, or we'll go over and review like all of like the tracing as a whole, the point editing as a whole, because you still have that 30-day training. It's just that now we're going to basically do like a live review, answer any questions, things like that. So there's like a month and a half of that, pretty much breaking up that 30 days into weekly sessions twice a week for what's like almost like 2 months, like 7 weeks. Then after that, it is another 2 months or so of practice. So that we don't forget the multiple crops, we have days like sessions, like multiple sessions going to build on crop. So we might just do like some simple crop. Then it's like cropping into like letters and like building up for designs, practicing for multiple crops, just so that you like have that repetition so that you don't forget it whenever you're doing something else. So whether it's crop, if it's subtract, if it's compound path, we have several different tracing things that we're going to do, putting together text designs. So that's going to be for another like basically like 2 months or so. And then in the last month is when we're going to like start and build a design, and then we're going to build on it. So we're going to have different things. It may not be a design that you need, because if you don't need, some people aren't doing business cards, but it's a great way to teach about layout and design and composition. So we'll have different design projects that we're going to do in the last month, because you're building up to that. And then masters, if you've already taken like the 30 days, you kind of, you know the system, you can go straight to masters. And masters, we're getting right into creating different types of designs. Doctorate will start in 2024, and that will be more advanced designs and also incorporating Photoshop. So that's what's coming up as far as bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. Doctorate will not include business like it did before. All of these are about designing and learning different design softwares. Business is its own separate thing when it comes to the business side of it. For those of you who, we have the program, we're still missing 2 from the summer, like that is coming up as well, because that's going to be built into one of the programs. The bachelor's program was your favorite of all time. Yeah, I know y'all miss coming to class every single week. So I'm building the calendar. That way we know like what days are coming up. Like I kind of miss that too. Like having the calendar, like we're working on this day. That way you're already prepared to know like which classes you want to make sure that you're there for and stuff like that. So the calendar is being built. Registration will start on Monday. Hey, I'm actually about to get off. I came on here because I was talking about the differences between dye ink, pigment ink, and sublimation ink. So I came over here, but I'm about to go now. All right, y'all. It's been 3 hours. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Be incredible. Head over to the website. Well, not you. You're absent. We don't care about y'all. Okay. Sublimation ink, pigment ink. If you are someone that uses pigment ink already, we have that on the site. It's our pigment ink. Go check that out. It's for like all of your regular printing. This is printed with pigment ink. It does not bleed. It doesn't run. It's water resistant. And then, of course, our amazing sublimation ink. Ooh. And our paper. Okay. Visit our website. These are the results that you get. 350 degrees, 4 minutes in a regular conventional oven. I've even done 3 minutes. So this on here, it says, oh, this doesn't want to say, it doesn't say 3-minute tumblers, but I've done tumblers in 3 minutes. Oh, there it is. 3-minute oven tumblers. It is on there. Haha. So definitely check out the website, shop.hsink. Don't sleep on the paper. Don't sleep on the ink. And I know you think you can handle silhouette by yourself. You think that until you have taken my 30-day training. Because the things I unlock for you, you're going to be like, wait, we can do this. Hold up, I can do this. I can do this too. I'm telling you, it's like nothing else. No one really shows a lot of these things, even in YouTube videos, not even myself. So definitely check like the 30-day training. We have Sezzle. You can break it up into 4 payments, but get immediate access to all 30 days. In order to enroll in bachelor's and master's, you need well, actually, no. Master's, technically you can without, but I'm not breaking it down. We're going into the nitty-gritty of designing. So if you don't know it, that's on you. Masters, anyone can join, but I am not breaking down the system. If you don't understand, if I say subtract and you like, what does subtract do? Don't think I'm rude when I ignore you. I am not breaking down the tools and functions in Masters. We are going to be focused on unlocking your creativity, unlocking your design voice so that you understand how to design. I'm not going over the basics, but for bachelors, you must have the 30-day training. No ifs, ands, or buts. Whether you pay for it, that first payment for bachelors, which includes it, and you're not going to be able to break up the payment, you're just going to pay for it outright, or you get it before, and then there's going to be a code for to sign up for the weekly ones. There's going to be a code for you to not to bypass that or whatever. But you need the 30-day because that is going to be our reference for everything in the bachelor's. All right. When it comes to the bachelor's program, it's only going to be open until we get to the end of the review section. Once we get to the end of the review and I think like week 9. Once we get into designing, enrollment is closed. No one else can join. You got to wait until that 6 months is over to then join. And when you start back over. She's like, you cannot get the 30-day. I'm a retired educator with an ed specialist in silhouette. I swear I'm probably at a 2nd grade. Oh, Lord. With an ED specialist in silhouette, I swear I'm probably at a 2nd grade level. You won't be there for long. I promise you. That's what bachelor's is for. You're going to feel like you are a master at it. You're going to feel like you can teach it to anyone if you just practice. Like, I stopped teaching it how I know it needed to be taught. Like, I mean, those who were in bachelor's and master's, they kind of got it. And towards the middle, I switched back to what I knew they needed, because just jumping into teaching designs when you have to do something else, like, wait a minute, what was I supposed to do? So this time around, I don't care what anyone says. If you don't like the pace of it, if you feel like it should be moving faster, that's on you. But I know what it really takes, because I know for me, I didn't just jump into this and just start designing. I had to learn this step by step by step by step. If you want to be proficient in it, you have to do it the right way. I'm not compromising this time around. I'm going through it the right way. If you hop your behind in master's, if you hop your butt in doctorate and you don't know the basics, that's on you. You're going to feel like you lost. There ain't no refunds. Oh, this is too much for me. Oh, well, this is going to sit there until you're ready for it. There's no refunds on it. Like, it will be clear that this is for people who have a understanding of Silhouette Studio and the tools and functions, because we are focusing on designing. And when we get to doctorate, it's mainly a lot of like Silhouette, but I'm going to start introducing you to Photoshop, because at some point you will graduate from using just Silhouette Studio. You're going to move into Photoshop, like needing Photoshop or Illustrator and things of that nature. So she's like, a kick rocks. I love the way you teach. You know, I mean, some people, they were like, you know, they didn't like it. So they were like, it was moving too slow for them. I'm like, all right. Proficiency is the key. Exactly. Shout out to the retired teacher. Me too. 1 year retired. All right, y'all. Let me go before my family go to calling again. I thank you guys so very much. I will see you guys on Monday. I got to come in here to clean up because I didn't clean up nothing today. I came in more so to design for my sister. So tomorrow I got to come in here and clean up. But I will see you guys on Monday. Monday, we're doing a couple of things. I am going through the Caesar setup, like my Caesar setup, well, my new cutter setup. And you're just going through all the things that I check, like all the checks and things that I do. And then we're also going to have the announcement, and it will be ready for sign up for bachelor's and master's. Okay. All righty. Thank you. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Continue to spread the word on our channels, even if they cannot join our classes. There's a lot of information here. The Q&As can be very, very helpful. If they don't, they can't attend a class, encourage your creative friends to jump on a Q&A because I'll answer the question. No one really, other than Dawn, no one really asked a design question, so we did not get into anything design. So when y'all don't ask the questions, you don't learn anything new. But I think only Dawn asked a design question, but I'm here to answer any design-related questions that you guys have, business-related questions, what you need for your business. There's a certain question that I'm still waiting on. For some people that are doing business, there's questions that I am waiting on to be asked, because I know like it's something that all of you guys, especially if you, I can't even tell you because I'm gonna give away the question I'm looking for, but I'm always here to answer questions about the business side, but y'all don't ask. So thank you for sharing the testing when it becomes available. For the Caesar. Yeah. All right, y'all, until next time.